How's it going, everybody? Happy Monday. Welcome to Wholesale Hotline Pre-Show. My name is Bryce, and in this 30-minute show, we talk all things driving for dollars. So it is my job to help you guys and to provide value to show you guys how to get started in this business. So in this 30 minutes, the way that this is going to break down is I'm going to show you guys how to start driving for dollars, whether that be virtually or physically. I show you guys some of the houses that we actually added from today. And then we also hop on the power dialer and we start cold calling some of the houses that we actually added from the previous week. Okay, so we're gonna hop into it. We're gonna let a few more people hop on. But in this 30 minutes, guys, this is just the pre-show. And this is a great way for you guys to actually get started. When driving for dollars, it's how 80% of all people get their foot in the door. So I'm super excited to actually share how you guys can actually get started in this business. So right off the bat, I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to share with you guys kind of step number one of how to get started driving for dollars. Okay, so we're going to go on to the BatchDriven app. I'm going to share my screen with you guys and I'm going to take you through step one, just to kind of find an area to actually start driving. Okay, so let me share my screen here. Awesome, so this is going to be step number one. And this is kind of, the first thing that you want to do is you want to identify a place to actually start driving for dollars in. Okay, so this is my nightly routine. Every single night I do exactly what we're covering here. And I'm just trying to find a non-HOA neighborhood where cash buyers are actually buying in. So step number one is going to be talk to your cash buyers and figure out what zip codes, what counties, what neighborhoods that they're actually buying in. That way, if you do get something under contract, you're not gonna have a hard time selling it. So I've already done my due diligence. Luckily, we know there's a ton of cash buyers in here. And here's proof. This is one of the first roads that I decided to click on. You guys can see when you're driving for dollars, either physically or virtually, that this one has already been flipped, right? So this one's been renovated. They have a bright yellow door, brand new roof. This one's clearly been renovated pretty recently. So I know that there's actual cash buyers doing deals in this area. Right? The cash buyers are going to do their due diligence. They're going to want to invest in an area that's appreciating, where people are actually moving into the neighborhood versus people moving out. Okay, so that's going to be step number one, is clearly identify a neighborhood or an area that cash buyers are actually buying in. Okay, so one way to actually know where to start is to utilize the aerial view. Okay, so that's going to be this option here. This is going to be updated on a weekly basis. Okay, and one thing that we're going to look for when we're driving for dollars is we're going to try to find non-HOA neighborhoods, meaning we're going to try to find neighborhoods that have a bunch of trash or junk in the backyards, maybe some broken down cars. You guys can see, all of these new properties, we've already added these. So this is a great example for you guys just to kind of see, where you guys should actually start. You can see this property here, 1564 on the corner. This one has a bunch of trash and junk in the backyards. Okay, a lot of people will also look for blue tarps on the roof, maybe empty pools, green pools. That's a sign of vacancy. You just want to try to find an area that's non-HOA, and the best way to do that is to find trash or junk in the backyards. Okay, after we've kind of found an area we've pinpointed, like this one here, 1525, looks like there's a blue tarp on that one. That's going to be a sign that the roof is going to be damaged, and that's going to be very costly for these people to actually fix up. So after we've kind of narrowed down a search or an area that we can actually start driving for dollars, my personal goal every single day is to add 50 properties. So I will actually go out and drive for dollars, and I will tag all 50 properties to my driving for dollars folder, labeled by each week. Okay, so one thing that you guys need to think about is having more than one neighborhood lined up, right? Nothing is worse than going to this one neighborhood, thinking you're able to hit your 50 or maybe your 25 or 30 properties, and then you don't have a second neighborhood picked up. So that's going to be step number two, is make sure you have more than one neighborhood added to your list. Okay, so I know I can hit a decent amount of properties in this one neighborhood, but for me to be most efficient, I'm going to have a second neighborhood piled up, maybe across the street over here, that's also non-HOA. Okay, you guys can see we've already utilized the BatchDriven app. We've already driven for dollars. And this is kind of the step-by-step analysis of how to actually start driving for dollars. So make sure you have 2 or more neighborhoods lined up. That way, when you're done driving for dollars in the first neighborhood, you could easily just go to the second and map it that way. Okay, and I'm going to show you guys if you guys wanted to do this virtually. And one thing I did want to mention is we've been pivoting towards door knocking. So we've actually been door knocking some ugly houses. And today we did set appointment. The second house that we knocked, we were able to set an appointment. And we do have an appointment tomorrow at 2 p.m. To see if he's going to sign the contract. So just go out there, take action, just go knock on doors, just cold call these people. It's one of the best lists, the best ways for you guys to actually get started. Okay, so I'm going to then show you guys how to add a property virtually, and then I'm going to start showing you guys kind of what to look for when you're actually driving for dollars. Okay, so if I wanted to do this virtually, all we would do is we would just drag the pegman on the top right-hand corner. We would just drag him all the way down to the road. Okay, so we're just going to drop him down here. If it's going to load, let's see. Perfect. So this is how you guys would drive for dollars virtually. You can see on the bottom right-hand corner that this date was taken December 2020. Okay, so I get that question all the time. Bryce, what if I start driving for dollars and it's not updated? I wouldn't go past anything maybe 3 or 4 years old, but there's 2 ways that you guys can actually cross-reference to make sure that the house still is in physical distress. Okay, and I'm going to show you guys kind of what to look for when you're driving for dollars virtually. Okay, and it's compatible with Google Maps, so we're just going to go up and down the road, and we're going to try to find houses that fit the 4 pillars that we talked about. And I'll be able to discuss that on the next houses that I show you guys. That way you guys know what to look for. Okay, but let's say that this one, hit the 4 pillars, hits 2 or more of the 4 pillars. All we're going to do is we're just going to click on here, and it's going to give me the property information. So this is actually an absentee owner. You can see that the address is here. It's owned by the Atkins Company, LLC. If I wanted to add it, I'm simply just going to click add property, and I'm going to add it to my desired folder. So each Monday we will create a new folder. That way we can stay organized and we can actually export our driving for dollars list into the Power Dialer. Okay, so if I wanted to add this one, I'm simply just going to add it. You can see on the bottom right, it says property added successfully. And then if I wanted to cold call this person, I would just hit skip trace, and it's going to actually skip trace it right then and there. Sometimes it does come back negative if there is an LLC. So just to show you guys how convenient it is to actually drive for dollars virtually, we'll add this one. So this one, Troy, owner occupied. We're going to add this one to our driving for dollars folder. And then we would just skip trace them. You can see they've owned it for about 19 years, 8 months. And then boom, it's going to pop up a list of phone numbers. Okay, so whenever you're cold calling, especially on here, you just want to call the first 3 phone numbers. Those are usually going to be the most accurate for you. And then you guys can also see there's going to be a mobile phone, which is the first one. And then the second one is going to be a landline. So you're probably not going to send a text message to the landline. So keep that in mind. That's kind of how you differentiate, tell the different phone numbers. Okay, but super simple. Skip trace it, and then you could either hand dial it, or you can even send an SMS text or even send mail to this person. Okay, so I mean, this is a all-in-one platform for you guys to utilize to help get your first, second, or third deal. And now I'm going to go back and see if we have any questions so far. Awesome. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to show you some of the houses that we actually added from today. That way, when you guys are driving for dollars, you kind of know what to actually look for. The whole point of driving for dollars is to add a custom niche list that no one else has access to, right? Every single person is going to pull a pre-foreclosure list, or maybe they're going to pull a high equity absentee owner. The problem with that, if you're just getting started, you're probably not the best when it comes to cold calling, and there's going to be a ton of competition. So just being out there driving for dollars, no one else is driving down the same roads. No one else is actually adding the same properties as you are. Now, granted, it might be on a high equity list because it does take some time for these properties to actually deteriorate. But if you're wholesaling, you need to have equity. If you don't have equity, then you would have to structure that on creative finance. So that's why we like focusing on driving for dollars. So let me share my screen and I'm going to show you some of the houses that we actually added from today. Okay, just a second. Okay, you guys can see this one. Let's see. Okay, so this is actually from a few weeks ago. So like I've said, we've been pivoting towards door knocking. The second house that I knocked on today, I was able to set an appointment for tomorrow at 2 p.m. So hopefully that one can turn into a contract. So I did want to provide value and actually show you some of the houses that we would knock, some of the houses that we would actually add to our driving for dollars list. So this is one, and we talk about the 4 pillars. So when you're actually out there driving for dollars, we talk about the 4 pillars. So those 4 pillars are going to be poor landscape. Okay, that means that there's going to be overgrown grass. Maybe the grass is dead in this case. Okay, that's going to be poor landscape. The second thing that we look for is exterior distress. So maybe that the windows are broken or boarded up. Maybe the paint is starting to chip, or maybe like the fascia boards are starting to deteriorate. That's a sign of exterior distress. That can be very costly for them to actually fix up if they are looking to sell. Now, the third thing that we look for is going to be a damaged roof. Okay, so you can see the top right-hand corner. This roof is going to be pretty beat up, pretty damaged. Especially here in Arizona, you're going to see a lot of roofs that are pretty damaged, just like this one. And then the fourth thing that we look for are going to be broken down cars or trash or junk. Okay, so if there's hits 2 or more of those 4 pillars, that's going to be what we call a qualified house. We're going to actually add that one to our driving for dollars list. Okay, so this one did have some broken windows on the left-hand side. Let me see if I can turn my brightness up. So it's actually all the way up, but this one did specifically have some broken windows on the left-hand side, and it did have a damaged roof. So right away, that one hits 2 or more of the 4 pillars, and that's going to be one that we add to our driving for dollars list. Now, there are some other factors to include, like the big ticket items. Other than the roof is going to be the AC unit. You can see here, I can't speak for every other state. A lot of the non-HOA houses here in Arizona, they have their AC units on the roof. So it's very easy to identify if their AC unit is old or it's broken or beat up. That's another big ticket item that's going to cost them a lot of money to fix. Okay, so right away, this one hit 2 or more of the 4 pillars. So I'm going to add that one to my driving for dollars list. Okay, this one here, this one's a pretty good one just because you can see the roof. I mean, that one's going to need a new roof. It has an older AC. The windows are going to be super old. There's going to be some poor landscape. This is a typical, house here that you want to add to your driving for dollars list. But this one does hit 2 or more of the 4 pillars, so we're going to add it to our driving for dollars list. Okay, this one as well. Okay, so you guys can see, there's going to be poor landscape on this one, pretty obvious. And then there's going to be some roof damage. This is going to be the middle window. You can see there's some cardboard on there. But this is going to be a pretty old, pretty beat up house that I just wanted to add to my driving for dollars list. So that's another good one there. And I believe there's one more. And then this one. So this is a good example of exterior distress. You can see that the paint is starting to fade away, starting to chip. The fascia board looks like it's starting to deteriorate. There's going to be some poor landscape, sure. And then there's going to be, the roof isn't in the best condition. There's going to be some trash or junk in the backyard. And that's the cool thing about the BatchDriven app is if you actually pull up to this house physically, you could actually cross-reference, meaning you could pull up the aerial view and you can see into their backyard. So you can see piles of junk, piles of trash, piles of broken down cars. That's going to be another added factor of distress, and that's one that you should actually add to your driving for dollars list. So keep that in mind. You guys can use that to your advantage. That's exactly what we did here. So this one does have exterior distress, does have a damaged roof, and then there's also trash or junk in the backyard. Okay, so that's the type of the houses that you should be looking for when you're driving for dollars. Now, the KPIs, the key performance indicators for driving for dollars, is going to be about 500 houses per one contract. Okay, but if you're just adding houses that we have a rating system, 0 through 10, if you're just adding houses that are just, 2s and 3s, meaning they just have poor landscape, maybe just one broken down car, you're going to need a lot more than 500 houses to turn that into one contract. So if you're adding 5s and 6s, like an old AC and old roof, broken down cars, junk, broken windows, that's going to be a much better bet for your KPIs as far as tracking those numbers. Okay, so keep that in mind. And let me go back and see if we have any questions. I went on a rant there, so I do apologize, but I mean, this does work if you're going to actually start driving for dollars. Patrick, I appreciate you hopping in. Titanium Investments, I appreciate you hopping on. Ava, the Subto student, this looks so easy. I need to get that going as soon as I get my batch figured out. Sounds like fun. Yeah, Ava, if you want to try this out for free, you can try a 7-day free trial. If you go to batchdriven.com/squad up, that's going to give you the 7-day free trial. It's also going to give you 50 free skip traces. So Ava, I know you're a Subto student, but you can reach out to me anytime if you have any questions pertaining to batch or driving for dollars, anything like that. Nick, appreciate you hopping on. Hope you're having a great Monday so far. Jeff has been super consistent. So I appreciate you hopping on here, Jeff. I appreciate you. So this one here, what program are you using to add people into your database and to skip trace them? This is going to be BatchDriven. Okay, so this is a driving for dollars platform where you can drive for dollars, you can build your list, you can either skip trace it from within the app, you can send SMS or mail campaigns, or what we do is we'll actually build a driving for dollars list, and we can even delegate this task out to virtual assistants. You can actually export your driving for dollars list into a power dialer, or you can export it into batch suites to send a massive SMS campaign. Does BatchDriven do a mass skip tracing? So Nick, batch is just to be used in the field. It's like a smaller platform, and you can only do 50 skip trace or 50 text messages per day. Yeah, if you want to try it out for free, I mean, just go to batchdriven.com/squad up. You can try it out for 7 days, $49. It's one of the cheapest ways for you guys to actually get started. And this is how I got my first 2 deals, is doing exactly what I'm showing you guys here. Awesome. So I'm going to now connect to the power dialer. So we're going to connect to the power dialer, and we're actually going to cold call some of the people that we added from the previous weeks. Okay, we got about 11 minutes, so let's see how many people we can get on the phone. Yeah, BatchDriven is the best. Phone numbers are the more accurate. Definitely recommend. Appreciate that, Carlos. Okay, so let me hop on the dialer, and we're going to start hammering away. Okay, and just for privacy reasons for the potential sellers that I'm talking to, I'm not going to share my screen, but we are hooked up to a 7-line power dial. So what it does is going to call 7 people. When one person does pick up, the additional 6 lines are going to hang up. Okay, so I have no idea who we're talking to. These are just people that we've added in the previous weeks before. So it's just going to pop up. It's going to be, the problem with cold calling is sometimes you don't know who you're talking to. Could be the wrong number, could be a male, female. That's something that you don't know until you actually have that conversation. Okay, so I'm getting set up, and I'm going to join the Driving for Dollars campaign right now.
You are now connected to the predictive.
Okay, so we have, just so you guys can see how fast and convenient it is to actually call through. We have about 235 remaining leads on our Driving for Dollars folder. And I've already made 6 calls, so I'm going to update you guys on the numbers. Hello?
Hello, yes.
Hi, Trudy?
Yes.
Hey, Trudy, this is Bryce. How you doing?
How are you?
Good, thanks for asking. Hey, I was just giving you a quick call about your property on Sunland Ave.
Oh, good Lord.
I'll take it you've been called a few times? Okay, so she's been called a few times. She hung up, so we're just going to move on to the next. Haven't been cussed out yet today, so let's see. So that one I'm just going to mark not interested, or actually I'm just going to do hung up on that one, and it will actually call her again in the back of the queue. Okay, so we're starting at 235, so keep that number in mind. Okay, we're already at 224. Yes, Jerry, she wasn't bad at all, actually. My guess is she was probably on the high equity list. But other than that, I don't see her being on any other list. So we're at 215 already. So we started at 235. So, I mean, definitely investing in a power dialer is going to be very efficient for you guys to generate these leads. Chris, my honest answer to this is I've never used Deal Machine, so I can't be the one to degrade Deal Machine. I've heard nothing but great things about them. But I'm sure some of the people in the comment section have used Deal Machine and have used BatchDriven, so I would take the advice from them. Okay, we're at about 206 now. So started with 235, we're at 206. So it's still calling through. Yeah, I think that was the most confusing part when I was getting started is I didn't really know what my schedule should look like, what I should be doing. So for me to just break it down in these 30 minutes, I mean, you can see we've added these physically distressed properties. Hello?
Sí.
Hi, Miss Nunes.
Sí.
Hey, Miss Nunes, this is Bryce. How you doing?
Bien. ¿No hablas español?
No, you don't speak English?
No.
Got it. Okay, thank you so much. Have a good day.
You too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, so I am Mexican, but I don't speak Spanish. Okay, so cut me a break. Okay, so this one, as far as my disposition, I'm going to put language barrier, and then we're going to have to see if we can get some Spanish speakers to see if we can actually call through some of these people that we're adding. Okay, so save and resume, and it's going to keep calling through. So we're at 195. We started with 235. Dude, I know. I wish I paid attention in Spanish class. Okay, we got about 4 minutes, so let's see if we can get one more person on. So V Magnus, batch leads / batch driven, which one to get, or is it all the same? So batch leads is for you to go to run comparables or you to pull a massive list to send a SMS campaign. Batch driven is going to be kind of all in one platform where you can drive for dollars. You can actually skip trace it, send a small SMS campaign, skip trace it and cold call it like we're doing here. So it really just depends on what your budget actually allows for. What up, Pace?
Hey, don't try and buy that house. That's my personal home, dude.
This one?
Yeah, it's where my baby sleeps, dog.
This is the 11,000 square foot one.
Oh, man. How's it going, dude? How's your day?
Good. We actually set an appointment, the second house we talked to. So I'm having Nick run the comparables to see if that's something that we can get locked up tomorrow.
Love it. That's, you did that during this live?
No, that was, I was actually physically knocking doors this morning. Second person I knocked on was open to selling, and I had Josh translate. It was a Spanish speaker.
Love it.
So we're going to see if we can get that contract signed tomorrow at 2 p.m.
Love it, man. That's great. Anybody that's in the Phoenix area, you guys are more than welcome to hit up Bryce and do a ride along with Bryce while he's driving for dollars, while he's knocking doors. We want to make sure that you guys have what you need in terms of learning this whole process, getting out. That's awesome, man. You were knocking doors with Josh?
Yeah, knocking doors with Josh. I just had him actually drive, and every time we came across a house that needed, some repairs, I just got out and knocked it real quick.
Love it, dude. That's amazing. So you set an appointment. Nick is running comps. You guys have an appointment tomorrow at 2:30 in the afternoon, huh?
Yep. So see if we can get that one locked up. It's a house here in Mesa.
So Michelangelo says, what's your IG? Well, his IG is actually the one you want to reach out to is BatchDriven app. Okay, you guys can go on ride-alongs with him. I used to be the one that did the ride-alongs a while back, but now I've got Bryce doing that, making sure you guys are taken care of. So if you guys are in the Phoenix area, you want to do a ride-along, driving for dollars, knocking doors. Bryce went out and knocked doors today, got an appointment on his second door he knocked. Sounds like they've got some pain, some motivation. You're going to be hopefully locking up that deal tomorrow at 2:30 in the afternoon, and you're going to be documenting that on Instagram, I imagine, right?
Yep. Everything that we do on a day-to-day basis is documented on the BatchDriven app on Instagram.
Love it. Guys, give Bryce some love. He comes in here, does a bonus show for you every single Monday, give you about 30 minutes of driving for dollars, which, as Mr. Brent Daniels, TTP, says, about 70 to 80% of people that he knows that gets their, getting their first deal comes from driving for dollars, right? Because it is budget friendly. You can get out there, knock on a door, and there's nothing that the TCPA or anybody else can do to stop you from knocking on a freaking door. So guys, go out, hang out with Bryce, do a ride along. And what I would do is also follow him on Instagram so you can see his daily activities of what it takes to actually go out, knock doors, lock up deals, etc. Bryce, you got any parting words before I kick your ass out of here?
Good luck, Pace. I heard you're on the hot seat tonight.
Oh, I don't know if it's a hot seat, but we'll see what happens.
We'll see. All right, man. Thank you so much.
Later, brother. Later. All right, guys, we're going to be taking a 30-second break and starting Wholesale Hotline. See you in a minute.
Welcome to Wholesale Hotline, where we cover everything to do with wholesale real estate. I'm Jamil Damji.
I'm Brent Daniels.
And I am Pace Morby.
And together we cover the most important parts of wholesale real estate.
Lead generation, conversion of sellers into contracts,
and dispositions. Guys, remember, when you're watching this show, do us a favor and squad up in the comments.
Make sure that you are liking and subscribing to the YouTube channels and in the Facebook group Wholesale Hotline.
Most important, we want to know we're doing a great job for you and helping you build your business. So go give us a review on iTunes and or Spotify.
So squad up and enjoy the show.
Hotline number 64. Here we go, guys. I am Brent Daniels, Mr. Talk to People, talking about lead generation, typically on a typical show. And next to me up top here is Pace Morby, Mr. Subto. He is the man behind the conversion. He is converting everybody. He's converting these distressed property owners. He's converting your mom. He's converting your
yes.
He is Pace Morby. And below us, the man that is redefining what it means to wholesale real estate. That is Jamil Damji, talking about dispo, but not today, are we, guys? Today's a special episode. This is number 2 out of the 3 special episodes, which we call the hot seat, but I think you're right, Pace. I think this is more like the open up your heart, open up your mind, open up your experience and sharing with it. Last week I went, it was fantastic. I had a wonderful, wonderful response from a lot of people. It was really touching how many people texted me and DM'd me. Thank you so much for all the love and all the support there, guys. But this is Pace Morby's week. Jamil, are you ready?
My gosh, bro. So ready. The thing about this is I know a lot about Pace, but today I'm going to learn more.
Yep.
Today I'm going to learn more, and hopefully, well, I know for a fact the audience is going to learn a lot of some of the things that I know. It's this isn't super fun when you're in the hot seat. I can't imagine. Brent, you went through quite a bit last week with respect to what you've gone through. And, I know Pace's story and this could be a little traumatizing, but bro, it has a happy ending. And it's not even done. It's not even done. It's happy right now. And that's life. But I'm so blessed. I feel so blessed to be able to have an opportunity to share with and have Pace be able to share just how monumental he is, not only to this business, but just to the fact that he has done so much in this short amount of time, more than I've seen anybody be able to accomplish, myself included, in the amount of time that he's done this. So let's get rolling.
I'm thinking, Jamil, just so that the last time people were waiting to hear from you, I think that you should start off and maybe you ask a question, I ask a question, and we'll just vibe like that, and we'll just build off each other. You cool with that?
Sure.
First,
you want to get started?
No, I mean, before we get going, I think everybody, the biggest question on everybody's mind is, what is in the giant mason jar of orange drink that you're sipping on there?
It's that, that sugar-free ice soda that's like flavored water.
Yep.
It's such a weird and awkward size of a bottle that I would just throw ice in a mason jar.
I love it. So Jamil, open this thing up. Open it up, brother.
Pace, my bro. I love you.
Love you too. And
I want to begin because this is a question that I've had, and actually my knowledge of you starts at a spot, right? But I know the pre-story, but I don't know the pre-story. So I want to get into the pre-story because, as I've gotten to know you more, and for those of you that are new with us, the thing is, what is amazing about my relationship with Pace is we spend a lot of time together. We get to travel around the country. We get to do amazing things. Right, nowadays we're spending 12-hour days together doing what we're doing. And but here's something I've wanted to know, right? Pace.
Mm-hmm.
When you were a kid, when you were young, did you have an epiphany that you were different from other people?
Great question, dude. You know, what's interesting is I think both you, Brent Daniels and Jamil Damji, as you guys get older, you realize that you do have something special, right? Whether it's the ability to teach, the ability to articulate, the ability to tell stories and to resonate with people on a different level, whatever it is, you start learning these things, not because it was built inside of you, but because whatever those skill sets are, you worked on them and they got better and better and better over time, right? So I would say the main thing that I knew I was different from a very young age was my work ethic, right? Because you don't have to be that smart. You don't have to be that articulate. You don't have to be the best closer on planet Earth. You have to have work ethic. And for me, I grew up in a household of 12 children. I have changed more diapers in my lifetime than most mothers of 4 children have changed. Okay. I was third in line, had 9 siblings underneath me. So imagine how many times I dropped people off to school and took care of people and changed diapers and all those kind of things. So working hard was always in me, but I didn't really realize until I was about 13 or 14. I was walking down to the gas station with your buddies, as you do, right? Everybody's done that before, kicking rocks and let's walk down to the grocery store with the $7 that I found in change in the couch type of conversation. And I had a buddy that says to me, and it still to this day rings true in my ears. He says, Pace, one day you're going to own a BMW. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, man. And at the time I thought that was like the pinnacle of success is having that blue and white logo, the BMW logo on the front of your car. And he says, one day you're going to be the one person in your family that owns a BMW. And I said, why do you say that? Why me? And he says, you're different. You're different. All you want to do is do stuff and be busy and go do things. And you never want to sit idle. Of course, you never use the word idle until you're like 25, but you don't want to just sit around and play video games. You want to be out doing things and building things and whatever else. So I think at that age, I had the hint of it, but I didn't really realize what it meant until I got older and started utilizing some of those skills to, maybe educate other people, whether it's a seller or whether it's an employee or whether it's painting a vision to my business partners. I didn't really know what it was until I got older.
Can I just ask a B part to that? Yeah. So
and
then,
Pace, real quick, Pace, can you just make you big and then put us on the side? You know what I mean? That little button there.
Sure.
There you go. Perfect.
Hey, there we go. Look at that handsome man. So you knew you were different because you were always engaged in activity. You were always ready to go. Sitting around and being useless just didn't appeal to you. And funny enough, it's like one of the most like common things that little young people do is just sit around, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like it's interesting to me. Right away I would realize that I wasn't like my friends if I was always trying to be out and none of my friends wanted to be with me. So I can see how that became aware to you. What was your first entrepreneurial pursuit?
I think where it kind of started, or my work ethic started was, and this will give you an answer. It'll take me 2 minutes to actually answer your question. But my father I grew up in a household where my dad was like, if anybody's ever heard of Rockford Fosgate, the speaker company, my dad was the CFO of Rockford Fosgate.
Wow.
Making a couple $100,000 a year in the 80s, but that wasn't enough money when you have that many kids. So my dad actually owned a construction company on the side. And so if I ever wanted money, what did I do? If I wanted money, my dad would never just give me money. My dad would say, yeah, no problem. Let's paint the shed, or, hey, come with me on the weekend and I'll have you paint, this house and cover the carpet and mask off the toilets and do all that kind of stuff. And I learned how to work with my hands at a very early age, to the point where it's just in me, right? There's nothing I can't fix. There's nothing I can't physically do. And so when I got older, right when I got home from my mission, so I'm Mormon, so we go on missions in our religion, right? So I went to Korea for 2 years. I speak Korean. I write Korean. A lot of people don't know that about me. I wish, above everything else, I wish I went and spoke Spanish, but it is what it is. I speak Korean. So I got home from my mission, and the first thing I did was, I'm like, well, I know how to paint. I know how to do this. So I started a company where I would paint people's garage floors at like 21, and I was making, I don't know, $12,000 to $15,000 a month just working 2 days a week. And I realized, like, that's not enough. I want to do more. And so I wanted to, I think the biggest problem I had, and we'll get into this a little bit later, is that I thought that college was the right way for me to go. And so I abandoned that first endeavor, even though I was making crazy good money, even back, to almost 20 years ago. I was making so much stinking money, but I didn't think it was a lot of money because I didn't feel like I was accomplishing a lot other than doing the same task in and out every single day. And so I had it programmed in my mind that I need to go to college. I need to get a degree. That's what was programmed in my mind. And so that I abandoned that endeavor and went to college.
My turn?
Yes.
All right, good. Let's go with some easy stuff here, Pace. How old are you?
I'm 38 years old. Just turned 38 about a month ago.
And for everybody out there that's maybe popping on or just seeing this and not really familiar, you're put on this platform here. Like, how many properties do you own? What do you do? Like, give some people some, like, oh, okay, that's why this guy's getting interviewed. You know what I mean? Like, how many properties do you own? Let's start there.
We have about 135 or 137 cash flowing doors.
Love it.
That's about to be amplified by about 38. We'll be up to about 170 something doors here in the next 30 days. We just bought another mobile home park. I could retire very happily on just my cash flow as of, probably a year and a half ago. I have 10 years of construction experience as a general contractor, did massive renovation numbers for Open Door, OfferPad, Zillow. So my understanding of a home and construction is, I would say, unmatched, at least in single family homes. I don't know anything about skyscrapers and stuff like that. I currently have a wholesale operation. I believe we did nearly $200,000 last month in assignment fees. We also own a virtual assistant business named vahub.com, which we also just changed over to startvirtual.com because of trademark issues. There's 350 people that work at that company. We do fix and flip. I'd say we average between 3 and 5 fix and flips a month. Our average profitability per month is about $125,000 a month. We only have one employee in that company. Everything else is 1099. We have crews and all that kind of stuff. Let's see, what else do I own? I own, title companies, and we own software like BatchDriven. I'm an owner on that. And I could go on for like 7 other streams of income, but I currently have 16 streams of income, and those are probably about half of them.
Why do you have so many streams of income?
It's interesting. As you grow in real estate, you just get extra opportunities. It's kind of like with you, Brent. I know you're buying a commercial property right now. It makes sense, right? Yeah. These opportunities come up to you, and same thing with Jamil. Like, you guys are buying a big ass commercial property. It's just like, once you become successful in real estate, you can't stop the opportunities coming to you. And for us, a big change in my life was, one, being around the right people, because when you guys kind of hear some of my bad part of my story, you'll understand that I have this really weird personality type. And it's not weird. I think everybody has a degree of this. Mine is more of a disease than it is anything else. And the personality type that I talk about is that everything in your world becomes my problem. Okay. So if you have a problem with your wife, that automatically becomes my problem, and I have to solve that. And I will use every resource in my power to solve your problem, whatever it is. And I've attracted some very bad characters over my life that have taken advantage of that part of my personality. And it wasn't until I'd say 5 years ago that I met, the likes of Jamil Damji, Steve Trang, and other people that were like, whoa, like stop hanging out with these people. Let's realign your efforts and your personality type. And Brent Daniels, you are a major, major part of my current success, is that you guys didn't change who I was. You changed where I put my energy, right? And you put my energy in the correct vehicle of stop wasting your time with these types of people. And I found my partner, Cody Barton. And Cody Barton is one of these guys that, and it's the same thing with you, Jamil. And even though Brent, you have partners, even though they might not be partners on your LLC, you have people that are, a major, major part of your business, like your father and, Jeremy and other people in your business, that it's not like a 1 + 1 equation equals 2. It's a 1 + 1 = 10 type of equation. So with myself, I can run 3 successful revenue streams by myself. But after that, I needed a good partner. And with Cody, having integrator personality style, we were able to amplify these streams of income with the same amount of energy, because 1 + 1 = 10 in our dynamic. We were able to now start taking on opportunities without actually working any harder or even risking any money. I mean, there's a lot of businesses that I own today that aren't because I actually bought them or I built them. It was because opportunities came in, and because of our success in other arenas, we were given opportunities in other businesses. And we can jump into that, a little bit later, but it's almost like you can't turn down opportunities. The more successful you become, it's like you can't stop the momentum. You can't stop it. And I see it with Jamil. I see it with Brent all the time, where it's like you have to you guys spend more time saying no to things than you do yes nowadays, because you've reached that momentum, and that snowball running down the mountain has hit a critical mass where it's like, dude, you can't stop that train. You can't stop that snowball. It's just going to continue to get bigger. And that's essentially where we're at right now.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah. And, just for the people in the audience paying attention, there's these moments, and we'll get into them. Brent did a crazy good job last week talking about these moments of like, you get a $700,000 judgment in your name for a 10-year freaking personal guarantee you sign on a commercial lease. Holy shnikes, dude. Like you can't go into a time machine right now. Okay. We Bill and Ted's the shit. And we go Jamil, Brent, Pace. We jump in a time machine. We go back to Jamil or to Brent right when he's about to sign that lease. And we go, homeboy, your life is going to be insane. Brent would have been like, F you, you're a hologram. You're not real. I'm so convinced that this is going to be successful.
For sure.
And then we jump into 6 months. We jump into that same, time machine. We go 6 months in the future, and Brent is now at like an all-time low. And we say, don't worry, man. At some point, you're going to be doing X, Y, and Z. Just keep with the course. Brent at that point would have been like, there's no possible way anything you're saying is true. Right? We all have had those moments. So a lot of people in this audience are like, man, I cold call yesterday for 6 hours. Man, I spent $3,000 on direct mail. Man, I did this, man, I did that. And I just am not seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Man, you shouldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel, because your eyes should be pointed straight down. Keep your head down and work your ass off. You're not going to see the light at the end of the tunnel until the light is on the back of your mother freaking neck. Yep. Right. And that's essentially where we currently are. I got a very tan neck. So does Jamil, and so do you. Yep. The sun is gracing us because our heads are down and we're working our asses off, and we're not looking at the light at the end of the tunnel, if that makes sense. So it seems all hunky dory and it seems like everything's perfect, but that comes with years of sacrifice and, challenged relationships and fights with, loved ones and all that kind of stuff in order to get to where we all currently are.
Love it.
Where I wish I could say, yeah, I was born. I came out of my mother's womb. Mother's Day was yesterday. I came out of my mother. My mom kissed me. Oh, by the way, that was one of the best Instagram posts I've seen in such a long time, Jamil. The one where the mother kisses the child and the endorphins flood into both of their brains. Like, oh, it was so good. So, By the way, Brent, dude, I got to say, your video this last week on TCPA compliance and with Evo, one of the best YouTube videos I've seen in 6 months.
Thank you, brother.
So
It's
good.
important, important stuff. Yep.
So good. It's so good. So my point in saying this is that, you know, all three of us are in the same kind of blessed world right now. We didn't come out of, we weren't born in amazing circumstances. Like Brent slept in a freaking bathtub, right? He had his original father wasn't involved. It wasn't until, you know, somebody else came along and adopted Brent that he actually adopted the name he currently has today. I learned that last week. And you, from the outside looking in with Brent's personality and his energy and his love and his support of everybody around him, or him supporting everybody around him, he seems like he wants everybody else to win more than he wants himself to win, which is a very unique characteristic about Brent. You think Brent was born that way. And to some degree, yes, he has certain, you know, traits, but everything else came through the experience of like going through some really tough shit. So, you know, and I have some of the same stuff.
Well, that's what I wanted to set the ground floor. I wanted to set that up on owning 135 doors, 170 doors, a successful $1 million wholesale, 16 streams of income, because wasn't that long ago that you had your life, at least from a professional standpoint, was you hit the restart button.
Yeah, I did. 29 months ago, actually, I just spoke at the All In event, which was crazy because the first line I said when I got on stage is I said, you wouldn't be able to convince me the day that I received this bankruptcy letter. Now, let me be very clear. I did not file bankruptcy. I had somebody owed me $1 million who I was doing construction for 4 years. And over those 4 years, the debt he owed me grew and grew and grew and grew to a 7-figure number. And ultimately, the week that I had my daughter, I got a letter, and so did 48 other people, that this gentleman filed bankruptcy, and everybody, including myself, lost all of our money, all of it. And, you know, there's people who go, what about mechanics liens? And what about this? And what about that? Guys, that's a whole story, and it's a whole 1 hour long conversation. But this gentleman had first and second lien positions, plus he had third positions that weren't recorded against the properties in personal loans. He was running a Ponzi scheme. And I was one of the guys feeding money into the Ponzi scheme. So my first 3 years of a wholesaler and, you know, a property investor, none of my profits ever actually paid a single bill in my household. They all went into this gentleman's pocket. I never knew what it was like to actually receive a wholesale check that I could personally cash, put in the bank until after this endeavor happened. So yeah, I pressed the reset button. I had to sell my house. I had to sell my children's belongings. I had to do all these kind of things. And that was 29 months ago. You know, what's funny is actually, Jamil, do you remember when we went to the Boys and Girls Club charity auction? What was that, 4 years ago? Mm-hmm. So check this out. I'm making money as a contractor. I'm wholesaling. I'm doing all this stuff. This is back in 2016 timeframe. And, you know, making great money. In 2015, I actually took home $1 million just from Open Door. My Open Door contract, only from Open Door, I took home $1 million. And I was building the house of my dream with cash. Like every single week I was putting 20 grand a week into this house, right? I was on the Brent Daniels train. Yeah. Right? Build this bad boy with cash. And Jamil and I, we get invited to the Boys and Girls Club auction, which, you know, when you start making money, everybody wants you to come to these charity things and they want you to, you know, donate money. And what they essentially do is they have these silent auctions. And there was a silent auction there for a trip to Sonoma, California. Okay. And I bought it for $7,500. Okay. I bought it for $7,500, you know, and I forgot I had it. And then 6 months later, this gentleman files bankruptcy on me. I had to sell my home, sell all, you know, my rental properties. I had a lot of rental properties. I had a car that I had to sell. Jamil actually helped me sell my home that I was in the middle of building this 6,000 square foot custom.
Worst deals I'd ever had to do in my life. I'll be honest.
I called Jamil and I said, this gentleman just filed bankruptcy on me. I have a $250,000 payroll tomorrow. If I don't get paid, if I don't get money in my bank account, I'm going to have, you know, 185 people not get their paycheck in 2 days. and Jamil was able to offload my property halfway done, and I lost hundreds of thousands of dollars, but it brought in enough money to at least pay my payroll, keep my people whole. And that was 29 months ago that this happened. Okay. So I had no money, nothing. And my wife, you know, being the supporting role in my life that she is, she says, so what should we do for Christmas? Should we just like maybe go, you know, donate or do, I'm like, donate what? We have nothing. And I'm like, I'm no joke. I'm going through my dresser. I'm looking for cash. Like I'm looking for whatever. It's a very stressful time period. And I find this certificate to Sonoma, California. And it was the last moment that I had any money was when I bought this thing, and I was going to sell it. I was going to try and sell it to somebody else, but the gift certificate said you can't transfer it. Right. So I borrowed money from somebody to go, you know, actually pay for food and incidentals. And we went to Sonoma, California for this 7-day trip. It was, my baby was 2 months old. And I remember laying in the hotel, it's a 5-star hotel, and laying there saying, I can't even afford to give the people, the staff at this hotel, any tips, right? It was kind of a weird situation. But it was a great moment because I laid there and I said, I deserve to be here. I belong to be here. And I would not have felt this way about myself if I didn't have good friends like Brent Daniels, Jamil Damji, Steve Trang, and other people around me that were championing me through this endeavor. Now, Jamil didn't know how hard he was, you know, pushing into me because I'm silent about my problems until I overcome them. But Jamil knew because he had to sell my house, and Jamil was checking in on me and inviting me to do things. And we were, you know, although we're cutthroat competitors, Jamil was my real brother. And he is the one that put the mindset in my brain that I deserve to be in a better place. And then going to that hotel, I said, I have to get back to work. I have to get back to work, and I have to just make a shit ton of money, because at the end of the day, I know people say have a good mindset and a positive mindset, but for the last 29 months, everything in my mindset has been, how can I serve some revenge to this dirty, rotten motherfucker through an absolute success story? And that's where my dedication has been. How do I just bring in so much success that revenge is served by my family being successful? And that was that journey. It was January 1, 2019 is where that journey started.
Incredible.
Crazy, huh?
You know, it is crazy, man, because I remember clearly the day. You know, you probably don't remember this part. A week before you actually asked me to sell the house, you confided in me and told me about what was going on. Mm-hmm. And you know, I was that it was crushing me. It was crushing me because I want to share with you guys something about Pace, which you know, I just want to paint the picture for people of what you were like in the worst time of your life. Okay? Because here is a guy who knows he's going to need to sell his family home, that his dream home that he's been building for his family. He's got a baby. He's got a son, a wife, you know, all these responsibilities, all these obligations that he loves, right? He loves these people. And at the same time of going through that, thinking about the obligation he has to make payroll, but still reaching out to me to see how he could help me in my business. Like, Pace, you don't realize that, but in that week, he probably opened the door for me to about 2 or 3 relationships that I'm still reaping fruit from today. Like, that is the man Pace is. Pace is silently being crushed inside, right? He's being crushed, yet he's calling people who he knows I could benefit from in my business and opening the door, saying, hey guys, I want to make an introduction for you. Hey Jamil, I need to make an introduction for you. Hey Jake Winters, let me make an introduction to you to Jamil Damji. You know, hey Clint Ship, let me make an introduction to you to Jamil Damji. Right? This is who that guy is. in that through all of what he's going through, he is thinking about how he can open the door for his friend to do more business. He's not even considering, what about me? And that's the thing about Pace that I think is the most, like, it's the craziest, most genuine, honest, real thing, but I think it's the secret to his success.
It honestly is the secret to my downfall too, right? So when I go into like the disease part of it, couple of things I want to highlight. When I first partnered with Cody, which was months after this whole thing, my wife hated Cody. She hated Cody, and not because of Cody being Cody, but because my wife was so afraid of people being around me, because she's watched me over and over and over give everything to everybody around me. So the disease I have is that the gentleman who filed bankruptcy on me would constantly come to me and go, I'll get you paid next week. I'm just struggling with my business. I'm kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul, but don't worry, in 60 days, I'll have it figured out.
But
so what I would do is,
you're not Peter or Paul.
I'm not Peter or Paul, right? I'm Pace, and he's also robbing Peter and Paul, right? So what was happening is that I was running a successful wholesale operation with my wife this whole time, right? Doing deals with you, doing deals around town, and running a massive construction company at the same time. And the reason why I didn't have enough money to quit and just focus real estate is because all my real estate profits, millions of dollars, were going into helping this guy. And actually there's 3 other people that took advantage of me at the same time. But the money I lost with them is like 200 grand here, 150 grand there, 100 grand there. So it's negligible compared to like how significant this other guy was. And so what I was doing is I would wake up and I would stress out. This is the weirdest part about my personality. And instead of fighting against it, I have leaned into it. But my personality would wake up and I wouldn't stress about how do I put food on my plate. I would stress out, how do I go get a wholesale deal, make 30 grand so I can go put it in this guy's pocket to keep his business going, so my construction company can stay busy and my people can have work. I did that for 4 years with this guy. And that debt would, first year went to 200, second year, that was when I reached out to you, Jamil. And I was at he owed me $350,000 at the time when you and I first kindled a relationship. And you were like, run. This guy's bad news. I know his name. He's taken advantage of people for the last 10 years. He's horrible. Run. But that disease in me is like, this guy needs help. I'm going to keep helping him. And then when it got to a point where I had nothing left to give, this is what he says to me. This is 5 months before he filed bankruptcy. He comes to me and he says, hey, I know we owe you $800,000. I know we owe you $800,000, but I'll get you paid back on everything if you just help me this last $200,000. And I didn't even hesitate. I didn't even think. I just said, this guy needs help. And so what did I do? I went and made $200,000 in my wholesale operation and dumped it into his construction and had my guys do all the work and do everything else. And when he realized I had nothing left to give, that's when he filed bankruptcy on me and everybody else. So when that transition happened and I was coming out of that, my wife was like, no more people around you, no more business partners. People are just taking advantage of you. And my thought process was, well, I can't change who I am. You can't change the stripes on a tiger. You might be able to dip me in ink, but it rains a couple of times, that ink's going to come off and you're going to see who the stripes are. And so instead of me fearing that part of me, I said, I need people around me that will help me align my energy and where it goes. And that was Jamil, that was Steve Trang, Brent Daniels, a couple of other people here locally, but those were the 3 main people that align my chakras, where it's like, no, be who you are. In fact, amplify exactly who you are and just point the resources into either good partnerships with good people, or doing deals with good people that are going to make sure you get paid, or, pouring it into what I pour a lot of my energy into now is my community. Right. And I would argue that I have built the #1 real estate community on planet Earth. That's my claim in my world. Maybe it's not true, but that's what I've convinced myself of, because you guys have helped me harness that energy and put it into the right things. So I've refused to change who I am. I just have changed who I spend my time with. That was the biggest thing. And being around people that, instead of you get people that are cutting out, Jamil, you've talked about this a lot. You get people that cut up an invisible pie that has not even been baked yet.
Yep.
Okay. What happens
the
with
time.
Jamil and Brent and the other friends in our network, you guys are always looking out for everybody else. Well, how is this guy going to get paid? And how do we structure this to make sure this is fair for everybody? And that is the number one difference in my life, because I already had a ride or die wife. I always had that wife. I always had that ride or die wife. I always had my work ethic. The one thing I was missing is a true set of friends, my board of advisors that Brent talks about, your 5 board of advisors. And those conversations with Brent Daniels and the conversations I was having with Jamil at the time were the most important conversations I've ever had in my life.
Well, this is interesting because Jamil, I don't know if you know this, and I don't know, Pace, if you remember this, but you came up to my office when you had joined TTP, and you brought Laura, and she was like 1,000 months pregnant. And you were saying, yeah, I get deals. And I was like, so what do you do? And you go, well, I sell them to Jamil. And I go, well, how many deals are you selling to Jamil? And he goes, I'm selling all my deals to Jamil. And I said, well, why don't you build a cash buyer database? Like, what are you doing? And you'd stone cold was like, but we love him. And Laura's like, we love him. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm backing off of this. Yeah. Sell your deals, do your thing. But think about this. Think about how short-sighted I was in that. All of a sudden, Pace and Jamil are building this very strong relationship. All of a sudden, they start connecting more, getting into more masterminds locally here together, spending more time together. All of a sudden, you guys start, putting together this Pace and Jamil Tour America thing. And then Jamil picks up the ball from his partner for the Astro flipping, which is really, it was all Jamil's anyway, but we won't get there. Jamil's program with Astro flipping, he's running the ball there. All of a sudden, Pace now is on the label. He's on death row with you, right? You're doing Astro. He's doing Subto. Bananas. I mean, 100 to 1,000 times more money made from that relationship than what could be made from just squeaking out 10, 15K more on each wholesale deal. And what I think that this is really just uncovering is, listen, you find the right people in your life. If you make finances an important part of that thing, you're going to be, it is so short-sighted. It is so, because between the two of them going back and forth for the next 100 years, it's going to be millions and millions and millions and millions and millions, if not more, in that relationship. And that is something that I think comes from a place of understanding and being in business long enough to understand that you don't come across these partnerships every single day. When you feel it, when you get the tingle, when you are like something is gravitating like a metal to a magnet, you need to rely on your instincts and really just see how fruitful that relationship could be. Because if you make it all about, I need to squeeze an extra 5 or 7,500 out of this deal, all of a sudden you're causing friction. All of a sudden that friction kind of expands. All of a sudden the communication isn't as strong because it feels a little weird. And then all of a sudden none of this happens.
Yeah. What
a shame that would be to our industry, to real estate investing in general, to real estate entrepreneurship. But because you had that connection, you were able to put all that short-term revenue aside and really connect with a relationship that's obviously, I mean, you guys are about to be on, regular television together. And that's
dude,
just,
that's crazy.
Yep.
I mean, the other day we're in the green room at All In, and we have the opportunity of meeting a gentleman named Tim Story, who is the life coach for, half the celebrities in Hollywood. And he's like touching Jamil's chest, and he's like, your life is about to change. You have no clue what's going to happen once you get on TV. And, and he starts talking about that. And you're right. I mean, and Jamil and I look at each other and we consistently say this, we go, we haven't even started yet. Right. And here's what I think the most important part of this is that when you find somebody, and this is rare, so I don't think you can just go out to, a RIA and find this person. You do have to intentionally attract this person, is that you have to find somebody that watches your back as much as more than you watch your own. Right. And so Jamil will say stuff to me and he'll notice things, and same thing about me. I'll notice things about what's going on in his world. I go, hey, watch out about this, or watch out about that. Or, it's kind of a funny thing. I got DM'd this morning. Jamil, I'm sure you saw this. And they go, what program should I join, Astro or Subto? And this is what's so ironic, that he asked me that question in that moment. Guess what shirt I was wearing? I was wearing an Astro flipping shirt because I completely support my friends, right? It's like Puff Daddy says. He says, if my friend owns a tequila company, I'm drinking that tequila, right? So same thing with Jamil. Same thing with Brent Daniels. The hoodies I wear, the shirts I wear outside, people are like, oh, you work for TTP? I go, I absolutely would work for TTP, but he is one of my best friends. So I reply to this kid in my DMs and I say, join Astro Flipping because Jamil and Astro Flip are super dope. And he's like, okay, thank you. It's not even a question. If it comes down to me or my friends, it's going to be my friends.
Yeah.
And the reason being is because I know that's the same exact thought process that Jamil has about me. And I know the same thing about Brent Daniels. And I know the same thing about Steve Trang, is that I don't even have to question the relationship, right? These people watch out for me when I don't have the ability to do so. And that is my weakness. My weakness is also my super strength, which is I care about people as a disease. It's a disease. So this is not a brag, but I care about people more than I care about myself. And it works only when I have other people around me that care about other people more than they care about themselves. And that is a rare quality. And I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky that somehow the stars aligned, that I met the people I met, whether it was through trial, tribulation, the universe rewarding me, or me the universe says, you've learned your lessons. Now let me put the right people in your path. I don't know what it was, but it was just the right timing and the right place that I met you guys, and you guys changed my life forever.
Do you think you have that, what you call disease, because you had a bazillion kids in your family?
I don't know what it is. I'm a Pisces, so my wife is like really into those types of conversations, and a Pisces is a water sign. So as a Pisces, I am water, which means I can fill in all the cracks, right? So I look at all the cracks in people and I go, oh, let me fill in all the cracks. Let me fill in all the cracks. Let me be, and I'm a chameleon. I can be whoever you need me to be in whatever situation you need me to be, as long as it means I'm solving a problem for you.
Yeah.
And so it's the same. It's one of the reasons why I'm so good with sellers, is because I can fill in the cracks with a seller in any conversation, in any situation, because I have something in me that I either A, I'm a Pisces, or B, I truly just care, right? I truly just care. And I don't know where that comes from, other than maybe my mom, taking care of 12 kids. I don't know if that comes from something in my DNA. I don't know where it comes from, but it's an unstoppable part of my personality. I can't turn it off if I needed to.
Sorry, go ahead,
Brent.
Brent.
No, you're good, Jamil.
My thought process is very much along these lines, Pace. I feel that you will always attract what you need right now. And I know it's tough to look at being filed bankruptcy on and all of that as something you needed in life, right? Because we never want to look at when we're challenged and when things don't go our way, and it just seems really unfair. Someone might have cancer, someone might, it can get wild, it can get crazy how the world will just hit you with shit, right? But it's how you respond to that really paints out your character. And through that response, you attract, just by your chemical nature at this point, the same chemical nature, right? And that's science. That's not just, woo-woo shit here. You go try and put, you go take water and you go try and put oil in the glass and see what it looks like. But you go find a substance that has the same chemical makeup as water. In fact, one of those is alcohol. They're very similar to each other. They both end in an OH or have an OH in them. And they'll dissolve. right? They will dissolve. But if you put two pieces of water together, you took a drop of water and you put it 5 centimeters away. I'm saying centimeters. You can see how Canadian I am. 5 centimeters away from another drop of water, and you just wait. Do you know what happens to those 2 drops of water?
That's interesting.
They find each other.
Yeah.
And they become 1 drop of water. Physical distance can be in between them, yet they will still find a way to attract each other. And it's the same for us as people, 100%. And it's interesting, Pace, that you have obviously cultivated this mind of generosity, of giving, of selflessness, and have attracted oil, but you've also attracted your tribe. You've attracted the people that are like you, that think like you, that feel like you. And I think the most relatable thing for everybody here is to just hear, holy crap, man, like someone as amazing and as smart and as eloquent as Pace can get the crap beat out of them, but still have the most upbeat, most generous outlook on life through that mess. And I think that's really a testament to who you are as a person, but it has to take work. And so my next question for you, Pace, is, I know you are a Mormon by religion, and we've had a lot of spirituality talks and all kinds of things in our times together. And I know you're the way that you live. There is a lot that you do to cultivate that mind. There is a lot that you do to cultivate your heart. Would you mind describing to the people that are listening today what things you do on a daily basis to cultivate your energetic smell, or the thing that you put out into the world, your chemical attractiveness that's out there? Because there's nobody like you, dude. Everybody wants to be around you. I walk into a room with Pace and everybody wants to be around Pace before Pace opens his mouth. Right? So what are you doing on a daily basis that's tuning this and this that makes people so attracted to you? Because I think this is something that other people need to figure out how to do in their lives.
Dang.
I'm seeing that in the comments. I haven't been able to find them. I haven't been able to find them. I haven't been able to find them. I wish I haven't been able to find them. I haven't been able to find them. Like, this is what people are saying in here. When you find people like that, cherish them, but they don't know how to find them. And they find them by cultivating the mind and the heart that you have. But you can't cultivate that mind and heart without daily practice. What are they?
Well, I'll start with one thing. My favorite book of all time, a lot of people don't know this. I don't even know if my wife knows this. I rarely talk about books. That's That's more of a Brent Daniels thing that I admire. And so, honestly, the best books I've written have probably come from Brent Daniels in the last 2 years of knowing Brent. But my favorite book I ever read is a book called My Side of the Mountain. Does anybody know that book? Have you guys ever heard of this book?
Mm-hmm.
I've not.
Okay, My Side of the Mountain is a book about a kid that his parents were going through, their strife and challenges and whatever. And he says, you know what? I'm going to go figure out how to live on my own. And he this is in New York. He leaves New York, goes upstate New York, and lives in the woods and documents like a journal every which way. So he finds out how to trap squirrels. He finds out how to trap deer. He finds out how to cut the venison and cure it so that he has this is a true story about a kid like back in the 40s. Right. And the book just like really captivated me. And it taught me lessons that I need to be able to do everything possible to take care of myself. Okay. And then when you couple that with my desire and my disease to want to take care of everybody else, here's what happens in the morning. I don't wake up in the morning at 6 or 7, which is typically looked at as a very early time. I wake up at sometimes 2:30, sometimes 3 o'clock. Sometimes if it's late, I stress out if I wake up anywhere near 4 o'clock or after 4 o'clock. What am I doing? that whole entire morning process is doing the things that are required of me so that the rest of the day I am available to serve everybody else that now is awake. So what happens is in the morning, I go, okay, I got to do, I got to empty my email inbox. So I'll spend an hour doing that, and I'll listen to, podcasts, or I'll listen to things. And that's when the other day I watched Brent Daniels' YouTube video about his TCPA compliance and, text blasting and all that kind of stuff. I literally watched that for an hour and a half. Is a great video while I was answering my emails. Why do I do that so early? Is because my children wake up now at 7, and I am fully aware and fully available to my kids, knowing that I've already set out my day. I hire people on the East Coast specifically so that they are awake 3 hours before people here, so that I'm having conversations with them at 6 a.m. and it's 9 a.m. their time. So I'm setting out my day. I'm preparing everything. I'm answering everything. So by 6:30 in the morning, I have accomplished an entire 8 hours worth of somebody else's day, with the sole purpose of being available to serve everybody else in my life the rest of the day. And, that could be my partners, that could be my employees, that could be sellers, that could be whatever. But then I don't stress out about missed text messages from the day before, or missed emails from the day before, or did I research? Somebody brought up something about cost segregation. So instead of me stopping everything I'm doing during money-making hours and during time where I could serve people, I put that in my notes app. And in the morning, I then go through and spend those 3 hours in solitude, researching those things and having zero interruptions and deep diving. You imagine what you can accomplish for 3 straight hours every single morning, where there's not a call, a text, or anything else that's impeding any of that. So maybe that's a form of meditation for me, that I can deep dive and I'm in the zone for 3 straight hours, 6 days a week. Now, Sundays, I will typically, take the kids down to Starbucks, but, get my wife some coffee, come back, and I won't really jump into work until Sunday service, my podcast in the evening. But 6 days a week, I get in 18 hours a week that is dedicated to just getting everything else out of my way, educating myself, and making my mind right before my kids even wake up. And it's because I stress out if I'm not available for people throughout the day, whether it's a buy appointment, whether it's my partners, whether it's an employee that needs help with such and such, or whatever it is. And so I get a lot of stuff done. And here's how nauseous I am. This is the thing, is like, if one person has one bad night sleep, they come to me and they go, dude, how are you not tired all the time? And my answer is, I am literally tired all of the time. I have never been able to train myself to be okay with the lack of sleep. I am just okay. What supersedes my lack of sleep, and then I am nauseous, literally nauseous 60% of my day because of the lack of sleep. But I accomplish so much more in my desire to have success, and my desire to build what I'm trying to build with you guys, with other people, overcompensates how nauseous I am not sleeping enough, honestly. And you kind of become used to it, where that feeling is like a friend, right? That feeling of lack of sleep. Now, I'm not advising people to do this. This is just something that works specifically for me. Right now, I also know that if I read a book, I'll fall asleep in the morning. That's how tired I am. So I have to do 2 or 3 things at the same time in order to keep my mind active enough to not fall asleep. That's how tired I am. So people go, man, Pace is a machine. Dude, I'm just as tired as anybody else. I just have a desire that is like so great that I just figure out how to get it done. So I don't know if that's magic, or if it's just, I have such a desire to do these things that maybe that my passion is what is my energy source. I don't know.
What does a stressed out Pace Morby look like?
I'm terse. The word is terse. I get short, right? Just like a Snickers commercial. And I get terse, where I'm just like, my wife probably sees more of it. And she knows it has nothing to do with her. It just has to do with, like, for example, we're buying this big home right now, which, I'm not the extravagant, ritzy, glamorous guy, but the house that we're buying really serves an amazing business purpose, that we can have our mastermind at my personal home and have more of a personal atmosphere with my mastermind rather than just an office atmosphere. And those things are important to me. So the house that we bought really serves that purpose.
Bro,
And
you
so-
could host a high school prom at that house.
Oh, there's absolutely
I
zero.
mean, come
doubt.
on, player.
Okay, no joke. We had 35 people at the house today, and they were, obviously scattered doing all sorts of things, getting ready for us. We're closing escrow on Wednesday, and then we're going to start painting and doing all sorts of stuff. And the timeline, this is what stresses me out. It's not that I need my wife and my kids and my this, that, and the other to sleep in the house, because I married the right woman. I married a woman that's ride or die for me. And so for her, it's not, we need to hurry and get into this house, and we need to get all situated so that the kids are good. The stress that's on my mind is, are we going to be ready for the mastermind, and are the guests going to have a perfect experience? Again, it has nothing to do with me. It has to do with, how can I serve these people and bring a level of value that is unparalleled to things that I received in the past. So that was stressful. So when people threw things at me today, I was like, I have no time for this. Don't bring this up to me. I have no time for this. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't yell. I don't scream. I don't call people names. I just get very stern and terse, where it's like, I don't have time for this. I actually say this to people all the time. I go, you're putting something in my brain that cannot be in my brain until tomorrow. So do not put this in my brain. In fact, the other day, Kelly Hanno, my media manager, is texting me right before I'm about to go on stage at All In. And she says, hey, I have a question about Les Brown, right? So Les Brown's coming in. We're going to talk about fear, and she's confirmed Les Brown. We have Les Brown confirmed, which is an amazing, amazing guest. And I'm building an entire mindset series in my education program with Jamil Damji, who I highly respect mindset-wise, Robert Allen, and Les Brown. Those are the three guys that I'm going to have build out this module all around mindset and how to become successful in real estate, specifically through mindset, right? And it's a big thing. It's a big thing. And Kelly needs me to confirm a date. And my reply to her was not, yeah, let me look at my calendar. It was, do not put these things in my brain on a day like today. Right. So I get terse, and I'm just like, no bullshit. I have to focus on this one thing, because I understand that I can't be a squirrel chasing a nut. You know what I'm saying? I can't be the shiny object guy. I got to focus, because you have to be in the moment. And the other part to that as well, emotional wise, that was one of those moments where you achieved something great, and you achieved it because of the people all around you lifting you up. And here you are now standing on stage in front of all these people, announcing to the world, hey, I've reached this level of success. Not for myself. The thing that I was really announcing to the world was I feel like I have now reached the level of success, the highest level of success, because now my students are doing deals with each other at such a high level that they're now turning around and teaching each other things. When instead of a year ago when I first started my mentorship, my students would say, we have a question about how a wrap works on a such and such and such. I go, great, let's wait till Saturday and I'll give you 2 hours about it. Now I have students that are like, I'll help you. I've done 7 of those in the last year. And now my students are jumping in, and the community is just swarming my new students. And that was a moment where I wanted to be on stage at All In and thank my students, and thank Jamil, and thank the Brent Daniels and the Steve Trangs and all the people that helped me get to where I was. And so it wasn't just about accomplishing something. It was about holding in the emotion that I was currently going through, memorizing that almost like muscle memory, so that in 10 years I can look back and go, oh yeah, I don't want to go, oh yeah, I remember that moment that I went on stage. I want to remember how I felt when I went on stage. And so when I go through those moments, I'm like, do not put this in my brain. I'm only letting certain things inside my head right now while I focus.
Love it.
So I'm curious, did anybody say they heard of My Side of the Mountain, by the way?
Yeah, you had a few.
Oh yeah.
There's a few in there that they loved it as well.
That and Hatchet. I'd love those books growing up.
So
My
good.
Side of the Mountain and Hatchet. Those are great.
So good. And it's interesting. Somebody asked me, what was your favorite book a month ago? And I said, My Side of the Mountain. They're like, not a real estate book? I go, dude, it's a mindset book in my mind. And it's a figure it out, go get shit done, be resourceful type of thing. And so many people are non-resourceful, right? And I think that's the thing I learned. I'm an Eagle Scout. A lot of people don't know that. I'm an Eagle Scout with which in Scouts is the pinnacle of success. And I'm an Eagle Scout. I was an Eagle Scout at age 15. And so what do you learn about the world when you're a Boy Scout is you learn, what's the Scout motto? A Scout is
Be prepared.
trustworthy. Right. Be prepared is one. And then there's a motto, and then there's basically the mantra, and it is a Scout is trustworthy, loyal, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent and honest, right? And I would say this over and over and over and over with my fingers to the sky every single time I would go to Scouts every single week. And so those are the things that are like ingrained in my body. So you learn to be resourceful. And I feel like that is one of the biggest issues with people trying to break into this business or any business, is that they're not resourceful, right?
Yeah.
Think about how many resources people have, right? Like if I'm a TTP student, I'm going to go find the most successful TTP students the second I join that mentorship and go, help me. I know Brent Daniels carved the path in the jungle with the machete and you followed it. Not only did he cut down the learning curve for you, but I want you to cut down the learning curve for me and show me the resources you use and all that kind of stuff. I don't need to reinvent the wheel. The resources are there. And it's the same thing for my students and Jamil's students and other people. Be resourceful. Go find the people, right? Go find the people and tap into them by bringing them value. And so I have never once worried about resources, because you can put me in the middle of the Sahara Desert and I will figure out how to find a resource.
Anywhere on earth, triple your worth, right?
Anywhere on earth, triple my worth. Jay-Z,
right.
Baby.
That's it.
One of the best. One of the absolute best.
When did you meet your wife and how?
Oh man, this is a great story actually. So I met my wife. So I was married before. Okay. I was married for 5 years, and my wife ultimately at the time didn't want to have children. Right. And it was really interesting. She now has moved on, married another guy. They've been together 8 or 9 years and they don't have children together. It was like she just married the wrong guy. We just married the wrong people. Right. And nothing but respect and, admiration for what she decided to do, but we separated. And then ultimately I go to my Facebook profile and I say single. And that freaking day at 3:00 in the morning, I get a DM from my wife now, Laura, and her only thing she types, which if you know Laura, you will be like, no way she said this. She says, "You're hot." That's it. She says, "You're hot." Okay.
Wait. How are you guys Facebook friends? How does she know you?
So we lived a neighborhood. We actually weren't neighborhood friends, or we weren't friends on Facebook. This is before Facebook really started compartmentalizing like who you could see and all that kind of stuff. So this is again 12 years ago. It was a long time ago when we met. And she DMs me. This is also when you could say I'm single, is kind of like a mix between you know. And so, or divorced, it was like something specific. I click it and it wasn't even 2 hours later, I get that message. She knew me from her friend who lived in my neighborhood. And when I was very, very young, like 16 years old. So she knew of me. And I had just gotten divorced and I was traveling around. I was in New York. I was bouncing around doing all sorts of stuff because now I'm single. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go find myself in this moment, right? It was like 3-month period where I was traveling around. So I finally make the decision to click on my Facebook profile. I'm single. She didn't even wait 2 hours. And she was like, "You're hot." And I said, I remember it clear as day. I said, "Wow, that must be a very legit compliment because it's 3:00 in the morning." And I was like, "Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Do you want to go out to eat?" And we went out to dinner that night to Kona Grill in Gilbert, Arizona, and we have been together ever since. That day, she was, we started texting throughout the day leading up to our date. I picked her up at her door. She was still living at home. She had a 1-year-old boy, Asher. So a lot of people don't know this, but Asher is not my biological son. A lot of people think he is, but he is not. And I inherited a son that, I was going through 4 or 5 years prior. I really wanted a child. I really wanted to build a family. And with Laura, she brought the most amazing gift is she brought a built-in family. And which was another blessing in disguise because it took Laura years and years and years. Took us years to figure out how to make a baby. Right. And then finally Corbin was a miracle baby and we had her almost 3 years ago. And, I'm very lucky. I had Asher for 9 years as my son. I don't say he's my stepson. I tell people he's my son, and I love that boy more than anything. And, we're teaching him now how to invest, and he's got money in cryptocurrency, and he's got, this trailer business that we're starting with him. And yesterday I was talking to him about Airbnb. It was really interesting. I was at, Best Buy. I go to Best Buy, I buy a TV. The guy who's helping me load the TV in my truck says, "Man, what's this for?" I go, "Airbnb." He says, "Man, how much do those make?" I tell him, "This one makes me like $3,000 a month in my pocket." He was like, "Man, if I could figure out how to do that, maybe in 20 years, I'll figure out how to do that." And I'm like, "Why is it so important?" Like, he was very desperate about it. And I goes, "Man, I take home after my taxes and everything, I take home $1,400 a month working for Best Buy.
Yep.
That's double what I currently make." And I go, "Well, let me walk you through the deal." Right. And I walk him through, I bought the deal with no money. I brought in a friend with $25,000. They furnished it. They made the first couple of months of payments. And then I have somebody else managing the property. And I really have very little involvement on this Airbnb, and it nets me $3,000 a month. I show him the P&L, I show him on the paperwork, and I walk him through the thing. And the guy's like, it was like the line, it was like the freaking scene out of Wolf of Wall Street. He was like, you show me a pay stub for $70,000 and I'll come work. I'll quit my job and come work for you. And I was like, "Look, man, like, let me put you in touch with some of my students here locally. Like, Jamil and I are tied up doing all sorts of stuff. I won't be able to help you right away, but let me put you in touch with some of my students here locally." And, it was just interesting. So Asher now is learning those things, and it's so fun for me to be able to teach him things that I wish I was learning when I was 13, 14, 15 years old. Cause my goal is for Asher to never have a job, right?
Yep.
My goal is for Asher to provide value in the community and in the workplace, not the workplace, but in the marketplace, so that he makes a tremendous amount of money. And so that's my responsibility to teach him all of those things. And I introduce him as my son, and we actually look a lot alike. So people think that he is my biological son.
Love it. And I love that. There's a quick, sorry, Jamil. There's a quick quote. I think it was Johnny Depp or something. They interviewed him, and they're like, "Do you want your kids to be actors?" And he's like, No, I want them to own businesses and have control of their lives. It's really interesting. I mean, you look at, some of these, people that have these elaborate titles and names and jobs and responsibilities, and really, man, control your life. Woo. That's the thing. That's the thing there. So sorry, go ahead, Jamil.
No, you're absolutely right, Brent. It's a very important thing to touch on. Pace and I are learning more and more about that as we grow, and as we grow, we're losing a little control. We'll get a little bit more of that back, and life is interesting. How levels all you always have to start from the beginning of your next level.
Yep.
And so that's a journey. That's a journey, and I'm enjoying watching that unfold. Pace, you are a world-class communicator. Like, world-class communicator. I recognize that the first time I ever watched you speak in front of a crowd at the wholesaling event, where you and I did that for the first time.
What a great event that was.
What a great event. It was where you and I did that for the first time together. And I realized at that point, and now here's the thing that you may not know about me, because I don't think I've shared this with you, but all through elementary school, I was in Toastmasters.
Oh, sweet. I did not know that.
And through middle school, I was the public speaking and debate champion. Through high school, the public speaking and debate champion. And I didn't stop public speaking until, I went into college. And then after that, I went into stand-up comedy. So I've always been a public speaker in a way, right? For me, get me on a stage and give me a microphone and I'm going to have a good time.
Yep.
And here I am watching this guy who I had and again, I don't know anything about this. But where did you learn to communicate as effectively as you do? And was this something that you were born with? Was it something because I cultivated it? And we've talked about this before, where I feel like I'm a polished speaker and you're very, relatable one. You're one that you kind of go with the flow of what's going on in the moment, and you get into it. And they're both great, but highly different from each other. So where did you pick that up? How did that become a part of your persona? Because I think that it is one of the reasons, not the only, but one of the hundreds of reasons why you are such a fantastic coach. Because you are able to communicate to people in a way that I've never seen anybody else do. Where did that come from? How did you cultivate it? And how could other people that are watching this do that? So I had this, here's what's interesting. A lot of people don't remember this because we have a lot of new, guests today, but who remembers in the comments the 16-hour live I did last year on April 29th? It has like 500,000 views at this point. That actually came from Brent and Jamil stressing me the shit out. And I don't think you guys don't know this. It wasn't necessarily you. It was the Max Maxwell episode. Okay. So we had Max Maxwell come on Wholesale Hotline and we had like 800, 900 live viewers. And there were so many people asking creative finance questions. And it was kind of in the early stages of Wholesale Hotline. So I didn't know how to react to creative finance questions. And all of the questions were stressing me out because I was like, this is Wholesale Hotline. It's not Sunday service. I need to and I felt so bad that I let these people down, right? That what I did is I announced, hey, I'm going to go live this Thursday. So that was Monday. I go live on Thursday, 3 days later, specifically because I felt like all of these people had questions that I never was able to answer because at the time I didn't have a mentorship either. I didn't have a way for people to hear my stories and get my paperwork and understand all these things. So I went live in my Facebook group for literally 16 straight hours. And I probably only answered 30 questions. Okay. Because when I answer a question of, okay, so I dug a hole. I put the seed in, I covered the hole. I put the water on it. I waited 3.5 days because the half day is important because of such and such. And I have this stress that if I am not communicating in a way that I need to learn myself, I feel like the audience or whoever's learning it from me is wasting their time. And so what I do is I tell story after story after story. I probably have 300 stories. That's an exaggeration. I would say easily I have 100 stories that are uniquely built to help people understand the nuances of creative finance in 10 seconds. Okay. Like for example, this was one that I just came up with the other day. Brent or Jamil, do you have an American Express, right? Yes. Okay. So let's say you go to the grocery store and you buy hot dogs, buns, ketchup, mustard, all that kind of stuff. Maybe some sodas for like, food. Love it. So you buy that for like a barbecue, and you're going to go back to the house and you buy that with your American Express. Okay. Does American Express own your hot dogs and your soda and all your kind of stuff?
No.
You just simply owe them a debt for what you currently owe or what you own, right? So that is what I would call a mortgage, right? You have a mortgage on your credit card. You have a debt that you owe to that credit card company that extended money to you. You now have a service, or not a service, but you have a good, a product, which is your groceries. So how do you prove that those groceries are yours as you're walking out the door? A receipt. So would you say that my debt to American Express and the receipt are two entirely different things? My proof of ownership and my debt are two completely different things?
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're completely two different things. It's the same thing with a mortgage and a deed. The deed is the receipt of my home. It proves that I own that home. That's my receipt. And the mortgage is what I owe Bank of America or Chase or whoever, right?
So
and so
then I could give my hot dogs and the receipt to my neighbor and they could go return it.
Or they could do something different. And this is what I do in Subject to. So let's say that I have this guy, as I'm about to walk out of the grocery store, this guy comes up to me. He says, look, man,
I need to feed my family, and I have this idea of building a hot dog stand on the corner here, and I could really use your hot dogs, your soda, your whatever else, and I will take over your groceries, and I will pay your American Express off, but I'm not going to pay the 50. I'll pay 55 or I'll pay 60, so you have a return on your investment. Would you let me have your goods? Would you let me have your house in this situation? And yeah, sure. So you can go and take those hot dogs and make a stand, and you can turn that into a profit. Maybe that would be like an Airbnb situation or a rental or a corporate rental or whatever it is. But you can take over somebody's home by transferring the receipt or transferring the deed into your hands, and you can do whatever you want with that house. However, the American Express, the debt, is still in Jamil's name, right? So I'm trying to condense this, but essentially that is, I just subtoed your wieners, right? I just bought your hot dogs subject to where you bought them on your American Express. You transferred and gave me the receipt. So now when I'm walking out of the grocery store, I have the receipt and I can prove that I'm the owner, even though my name is not on the American Express. So I tell stories in this way because people have a hard time understanding mortgage and deed of trust and transferring this and warranty deed versus a deed in lieu and a this and that and blah, 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 blah. Because if I could go back 7 or 8 years ago and somebody explain it to me that way, I would have saved hundreds of thousands of dollars, 2 or 3 years of my life, and 1,000 mistakes. And so I sit there and I think, how do I educate somebody as if they are a 4th grader or a 5th grader about creative finance or anything else? And so I became a storyteller, and it now is fun for me to break things down in the most simple way, where now somebody goes, okay, so yeah, I could have these hot dogs. You give me the receipt. I walk out of the store. The security guard says, obviously that's your set of hot dogs because the receipt shows it. But now I can log into Jamil's American Express and make his payments for him, right? And I didn't have to use my own personal credit to get that business off the ground. And I had this student tell me actually a couple of weeks ago, he goes, that was the most, and of course the explanation took about 7 minutes longer, but he says, you just broke down subject to in a way that after, he'd been in 2 other mentorships in creative finance. He goes, that's the first time I truly understood subject to, was because I talked about hot dogs in a grocery store. Right?
I just got a text from someone who said, tell Pace he's making the shirt. I can sub to your wiener.
Yes, 100%. I need to do that. But it becomes fun, right? And so where that comes from, I don't know exactly, other than the level of stress I receive. I stress out when somebody doesn't quite understand something. And so I have to thank you guys. That 16-hour live that I did came because I felt like I couldn't tell anybody these creative finance answers because I go on these long tangents. And I can't do that on Wholesale Hotline. So that's where the 16-hour live came from. Then the 25-hour live came from that. It wasn't me trying to go I had so many people in the email marketing business and the direct mail marketing business. They would say to me, not direct mail, but direct marketing business, which is basically getting people into a funnel to buy a product, right? I had people reach out to me you're so dumb for doing that 16-hour live and not having a funnel attached to it and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, bro, I didn't do that to charge people. I did that because I needed these people to truly understand these questions. And as long as I have acted that way and served people on that level, it has always come back 10 times more than I could have ever charged them for, whether it's them bringing deals to me, bringing deals to my students, whatever it is. And so, Jamil, one of the last things I'll say, we're probably out of time, but you said something earlier about an equation. There is an equation to success. Okay. Here's the equation. 1 + 1 = 2, right? So if I threw in 1 + 1 + 7, does it still equal 2? No.
Nope.
Here is the equation to success. And I actually mentioned this to my wife the other day. I said, babe, there's an equation to making money. And I understand the equation to making money. 1 + 1 is hard work and the right vehicle equals success, right? So 1 + 1 = success. So the right vehicle and hard work. You can be an idiot. You can have a lack of resources. You can have whatever, but hard work and the right vehicle equals success. When you add the 7 in this situation would be complaining. right? Or quitting or whatever. You add that to your equation, you're done. It no longer equals success. And so when my wife says to me, like, not my wife, but because my wife is also not a complainer, but when other people ask my wife, like, man, I never hear Pace complain. I never hear Pace do this. It's not even because I'm not a complainer. It's because the thought process comes into my head and I go, that doesn't match with a 1 + 1 = 2. Yep. If I start complaining, all I've done is I've completely thrown out the scientific equation to success. And it's the same thing with serving people. If every single moment I'm serving people, the thought process is I need to charge people, then I don't create a community that will actually grow way bigger and stronger than I ever could have built it with the wrong equation. So the equation for me when it comes to being a mentor is two things: the right vehicle and hard work. And the right vehicle in this situation is leading by example and freaking working my guts out. And my students, ultimately, I have students making more money this year. And I know Brent's the same way. I know Jamil's the same way. You have students, like I have one student that has a $362,000 assignment fee. Mm-hmm. And it's a co-wholesale deal. The other person's making $362,000 assignment fee. Mm-hmm. Right? Oh my gosh, like you ultimately build a community that grows way bigger than you could have ever tried to do it on your own. And so the equation is this: serve the freaking people. That's it. Serve the people. Stop thinking about every funnel that you can create. And what did I say on stage the other day on Friday, Jamil? Like to the all-in people, I was like, do I want your money? Do I want your money? Is this it was just this whole thing.
It's funny because like that, there's probably been about 10 comments in the time that we've been on Wholesale Hotline tonight that are bringing up your presentation at All In. You did a fantastic job that night. I think you touched a lot of people and showed them, not only why you are where you are in life, but also how they can get there. How they too can get that type of reward in their life. And you're right. It's not magic. None of this is craziness. It's truly service. You serve, mm-hmm. You serve and serve and serve and serve until you're served.
Yeah. I think the biggest stress I currently have right now is like with your and my current schedule, we've lost our weekends, right? So I had to go to my wife and go, hey, just so you know, like during the next 6 months, and before I even say it out loud, she's like, yeah, you got to give up your Sundays to serve your people, right? Because my wife understands the equation, right? So like normally Sunday would be like, let's go do a day trip up to Flagstaff, or let's go do this with the kids. And my wife's like, no, you have a mission and your mission is to serve people. And if you can't find the time to serve your people Monday through Saturday, you got to take Sunday. You got to take Sunday to serve those people for an extended period of time. And that's so important to me, is to have a partner, whether you're single, whether you're dating, whether you're married, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. You need to have people around you that support that vision. As crazy as it might sound, you have to have that. And I'm not saying like I want to work 7 days a week for the rest of my life, but there are seasons to life. And as long as you are serving other people in every freaking moment of your life, you can't even count the blessings. It is overwhelming. What's crazy now is like every turn I make, I got an email today talking about a deal that on people that I served a year and a half ago. And they're wire transferring me $90,000 on a deal I helped somebody on a year ago, or a year and a half ago. That literally came in 2 or 3 hours ago, $90,000. And so what's crazy is like, you can't stop the money from coming in once everything becomes about service. And I feel like just like cold calling and texting and door knocking and anything else, is that people have a very short time frame that they go, well, serving people hasn't brought me any lucrative opportunities in the last 3 days. I'm going to quit. And I can tell you right now, when you look at Brent Daniels, you think about Brent and Jamil and all the things that you guys do, like Brent specifically, that video still hits me so hard, because it was thinking about the level of content you brought, how pertinent and how important it was to everybody. You didn't charge for it. You took an hour and a half of your day. You coordinated and brought somebody else in to bring that value to other people. with no funnel, no expectation, no anything other than just serve information that people need in that moment. I have never seen Jamil, Brent Daniels, all of the people we hang out with ever say, hey, this service that I'm bringing to people is not paying me anything, so I'm going to stop.
Right.
Look at Wholesale Hotline. We don't make any money from this. In fact, it's a challenge. Do you guys know that Brent Daniels does not typically work on Monday? He comes into the office specifically only to do Wholesale Hotline. And I can tell you, Brent Daniels has never made a penny from Wholesale Hotline. Okay. We don't push products here. Have you guys asked us about, are we pushing affiliates today? Are we doing anything like that? No, we're bringing you guys value every moment in order to serve, because we understand the equation. The equation is serve. And freaking, you guys have a passion for it. Both of you guys do. Right. It's crazy. And that's what it comes down to. So if I'm a brand new person jumping into this business and I say, oh, well, that's easy for you. You have stuff to give people. You know what I used to do? The thing that I used to do, there's so much to the story we didn't get to because I'm so long-winded. But there was a day where I decided I'm going to take people on ride-alongs for free.
I remember that. Like, this guy's going to get murdered.
Right. People would be like, you're going to get murdered. And I'd be like, all right, people, everybody, this is like 3 years ago. I'd be like, all right, first 3 people to this Circle K at 6:30 in the morning get to spend the whole day with me. And I would get like 40 people that would show up to Circle K. And I would be like, who are the first 3 people? And I had to start organizing this because I wasn't charging for it. I wasn't charging for any of that. And I just wanted to help people, because so many other people were telling me when I would reach out, I'd say, hey, can I go on an appointment with you? Can I see what this looks like inside the appointment? People would be, closed doored and not want to show me their secrets of how they're converting sellers and all that kind of stuff. And so I made it a mission. I'm going to provide the same way Brent Daniels and Jamil provide. I'm going to provide a level of value so high that if I was able to give it to myself when I first started, I'd be 10 years further than I currently am today. And that's the equation. Yep. And now I just get people texting me and calling me and emailing me. I could literally turn off all my marketing and just sit here and bask in the glory of deal after deal after deal being sent to me. Obviously, that's not what we do. We do deals with people inside the community, and we obviously do direct to seller marketing as well. But that's how powerful it is. So somebody says to me the other day at the All-In event, they go, why is social media and like helping all these people so important to you? And I go, does $200,000 a month sound important to you? And they're like, wow, that's amazing. So you're telling me that in 2 or 3 weeks, I'm like, 2 or 3 weeks? Are you kidding me? Dude, try 2 or 3 months minimum to figure out your voice, and then add 3 more months on top of that before you really start getting momentum. And that's the expectation. But so many people's expectation of I'm going to serve people is a Saturday afternoon when I have the time.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And the people that you guys see on these screens and these YouTube people and the stars, I'm in meetings with them. I'm in private conversations with them. The conversations that are had in private are, how do I raise the level of value? How do I raise my, like, look at Brent, every single penny he spent on his studio was, I want to make sure people see me, hear me, they can feel me, they can understand everything I'm conveying to them in the shortest possible time, because people are busy. And the guy went out and spent the freaking money and time to build out a studio, and just to find out you guys are buying another building. So good luck with that.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying is anybody else would have been deflated. Anybody else would have been like, oh, dude, I just did this.
No, we love it. We all love this. You know what I mean?
It's the best.
It's an incredible, incredible opportunity to share what has really gone from, basically starting over or rock bottom to being successful and being able to like have true freedom and true control. And I'll share that till the day I die. I mean, that's just what I'm here to do. But let's do this real quick, Pace. 1-word answers, quick round. We're going to close this thing out. Jamil's going to hit you first. What? Pace.
Rapid fire.
Pace.
Favorite color.
One word.
Favorite color.
Answers.
Favorite color.
Blue.
Favorite vacation spot.
Where I got married, Carmel, California. Pebble Beach.
Your why.
to do dope shit. I truly, every single day, look, everybody's why is their wife. Everybody's why is their kids. Everybody's it. So above and beyond that, right? You go down to 7 layers of why. I truly have I did my 7 layers of why, and my desire is to truly do things tomorrow that I've never done before. Right. And in that process, serve people. So that's how I sum it up is I say, I want to do dope shit tomorrow. And that's when Jamil and I are traveling around. I'm like, let's go do this. Let's go do that. Let's go do this. Let's go do that. And it's all about, am I still doing what I did yesterday? Am I still doing it today? Okay, well, yeah, of course I am. But I want to delegate those things to other people. And I want to go create new things that provide higher levels of value to other people. And I want to just do dope shit. That's it.
Oh, I had one, but I lost it because
Tupac or Biggie?
Oh, Tupac all day long. But I do go back to, and like, here's the thing is you're not a Jay-Z fan. I'm a huge Jay-Z fan because I'm a huge Kanye fan. And so like Jamil is so funny about his East Coast, West Coast rap, because at the time, like East Coast, West Coast was so like diabolically hateful towards each other that when we're on the road and we're listening to Jay-Z, I'm like, I'm singing along to like the best Jay-Z songs and Jamil doesn't know the words. Is because he's like, yeah, he's East Coast. He's East Coast. And I'm like, I get that. Totally get that. So Biggie was never my guy, but I really did like Jay-Z because of Kanye West.
What's your middle name?
Favorite food?
Favorite food is Korean food.
Say hello in Korean.
Annyeonghaseyo or annyeong or annyeonghaseyo. All 3 ways you can say it.
Favorite burger place?
Favorite burger place?
Yep.
In-N-Out all day long.
Walk or run?
Run. All day long.
Inside or outside?
Inside or outside? Outside. I'd rather be outside.
16-hour live or 25-hour live?
25-hour live. The only reason I didn't go 24 hours the first time I did that 16-hour live is because Facebook cut me off and it was like 8:00 at night. So I was like, oh my gosh, I lost my whole audience. I had to restart it. And then I'm like, it's 8:00 at night. I'm going to get like very little people to show up. So I quit it. And that's why I went back and did the 25-hour live.
What's your handicap?
7. I will take your money. Anybody that plays golf with me, I will take your money. I will take your money. I have not lost a dollar in golf in years.
Slides or flip-flops?
I'm wearing flip-flops right now.
What do you put on that's comfortable when you get home?
Jeans and a t-shirt.
What?
I don't know why. Jeans, dude. Mosquitoes love me, man. I have that blood type that mosquitoes just want to eat you. I could be in a room of 100 people and the mosquitoes would find me. So like I always hide my ankles because they're always biting my ankles.
We live in Arizona. There's not that many mosquitoes.
Bro, when you're on job sites,
your comfy outfit is jeans.
My comfy outfit is legit jeans or naked. That's it.
Hot or cold?
I would prefer to be, I would say hot. Like I would prefer to live in Arizona than Utah. I lived in Utah for a lot of my life and I would prefer to live in Arizona and deal with the heat because I can always jump in a pool. In the cold, it's everywhere. And you know this, Jamil, living in, actually Brent, you know this because you live in freaking Flagstaff half the year.
Yep.
You cannot escape it. It's like in every room, you take your shoes off, you stub your toe. It's like somebody pounded you with a sledgehammer. Cold just makes everything worse. I would rather be hot and jump in the pool.
Beach or mountain?
Mountain all day long. I hate the ocean all day long. Mountain. I don't like the ocean. I don't know what's in there. I don't know what's going on in there. All day long, I want to be mountain. Like my dream for a long time was to be next to Brent Daniels, but now my dream, I think I'm trying to be up more Montana. I want to have a running river through my property. That's like one of my big dreams.
Love it.
Your next baby, a boy or girl?
I'm loving having a girl. I would love, Sergio asked the best question of the day, Subto or 0% seller fine. I would love to have another girl. I have the best son in the world. I'd love to have as many girls and daughters as I possibly can now that I've had so much fun with Corbin.
Rain or shine?
Shine all day long. Sergio, one of my students says, sub 2 or 0% seller finance all day long, 0% seller finance all day long. I mean, you're paying 0% interest, right? 0% interest seller finance. That's all day long. But sub 2 is great because most of the time I'm getting a sub 2, I'm not putting any money down. So there's an ebb and flow there. Ooh, Lawrence Swartz. How are you able to balance work and family time? Can I be honest about this? This is going to like hurt a lot of people's feelings. If you don't have the right wife, you will not have a balanced life. That's it. You have to have a wife that fights for you to work hard. And your wife, this is my last piece of advice for people. If you can't, and this is not your wife's fault, this is your fault. I have talked to so many men that don't know how to get their wife on the same page because they look at it as my business and my this and my endeavor and blah, 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 blah. You should be building your kingdom with your wife. Your wife should feel like she's part of it and figure out a really important role she can play. Okay. I'm not saying she should be your employee. I'm saying there's things in your business she can help do, whether it's making sure that that's a whole nother long conversation where people go, well, I don't have any skills. That's another conversation for another day. You need to make sure your wife is on the same page as you, and your wife, once she is on the same page as you, and this is me in a traditional relationship. So I apologize. There's some women that are like, what about my husband? Not talking to you right now. I'm sorry. If your wife is not fighting for you to go work hard, like for example, if you have a 9 to 5, you get home at 5 and your wife is like not pushing you out the door to go drive for dollars and make more for your family, then you have not got your wife on the same page as you. There is no true work-life balance in the true, like the sense of here's work, here's life, and they're separate. A perfect work-life balance is that I get to enjoy my life and I'm intermingling work involved, and my wife is not looking at me while I'm on the phone saying, why are you always on your phone? Right? So for me, the way I did that is I got my wife on the same page by communicating with her, and my wife is an amazing support system. And she says to me stuff like, what are you doing today? How can I help? What are you doing today? How can I help? That's the perfect work-life balance, in my opinion.
Love it. Love it. Pace. What an episode. Absolutely incredible, brother. You are an inspiration, and getting to know you better. It's just been, it's been phenomenal. And just knowing that, the most interesting thing for me was just your morning routine and the way that you feel and the way that you process that in the morning, and you get almost like a whole sonar view of what the day looks like before I certainly get up, before, a lot of people get up. So no doubt. And listen, hard work in the right vehicle. Well, we know what the right vehicle is, right? We know what I mean, you wouldn't be on this show if we didn't know what the right vehicle is. The right vehicle is finding distressed property owners, finding properties that people in your community that need your help. They need you to help guide them and relieve that stress that they have, whether it is a sub 2, whether it is a creative finance, whether it is a wholesale deal. There are people out there in the community right now that need your help. So make sure you go out there and you take that action. Pace, you got your show Wednesday at 8?
No, I don't do a show Wednesday anymore. I was doing a show with Joe McCall and Matt Terrio, all about creative finance, but our television show that Jamil and I are currently filming for the next 6 months really threw a monkey wrench in that. Okay. Which is fine, Jamil, right? Priorities and whatever. But my show that I go off for as long as I can and nobody stops me is Sunday service. Like I'll tell one story for an hour, right? I'll pull up documents. I'll pull up closing docs. I'll pull up where the money came from, and I'll deep dive on very specific topics. That Sunday service, we've been running that for 1.5 years, roughly, almost 2 years. We're almost at the 2-year mark. And, we get about 400 to 500 live viewers every Sunday night, which I appreciate all of you guys so much. Thank you so much.
Jamil, when's your show?
It is now Sundays at 5 p.m. Sundays at 5 p.m. Straight out of Compton. Sundays
straight out of Compton. Straight out of Compton on Sundays. Join me live Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We go live with different topics on real estate investing, specifically wholesaling, from 10 to noon. I would love for you guys to cross over and check that out as well. And that's it. Next week, it's exciting. We get Jamil on the hot seat, and that rounds it out. That gets all three of us a deep dive into who we are, what made us, what we've been through, and what makes us tick. So make sure that you join us next week live for Wholesale Hotline. Guys, are we the same time? I know that we've talked about it a little bit.
No, we're at the same time. We negotiated that
Monday.
same time every week.
All right, good. Well, then there you go, guys. Pace, thank you again so much for cracking that dome open and just letting us crawl inside and play around for a while. Jamil, fantastic, unbelievable questions. You crushed it. And love you guys. Love you, Pace. Really,
Love
really
you guys.
solid, brother.
We'll see you next week with Jamil Damji. Later, guys.
Or just say squat up.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
1, 2, 3.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
What are you doing?
I didn't say that thing.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay.
So squat up and enjoy.